Hey, and welcome back to the Art Cafe. I'm Corey. So today I wanted to show you quickly how to do those wild, craggy watercolor flowers. Let's go over materials real quick. We'll be using the Studio Series watercolor brush pens today. And like I said in the last flip through video, I only like to really stick with 3 colors. So we're going to use brown, orange, and yellow today for this. And then I've got my Stabilo pins here, and I'm just going to use the dark brown one for the line work. Got a couple paper towels, some water brushes here. I've got a couple smaller rounds and a larger round. I'll probably just stick with the smaller round. It's little easier to control your painting with the smaller one. And then I've cut some 5x7 pieces of watercolor paper out of this Canson watercolor paper pad. I usually use either Canson or Artist Loft watercolor paper. All right, I'm going to show you 3 different styles of flowers today. First, and I like to start with the darkest color. First, we're going to draw 5 V's. These will be the petals. And since I've got my brown pen in my hand, these are drying out a tiny bit, I'm going to go ahead and draw all the different styles we're doing. I'm going to do just the little bud up here, pretty big bud actually, it turns out. And then we're going to do a 3-pronged flower. Let's do it down here. So you just want to do, this one's not quite open yet. You just want to do 3 pretty tight together. Then we'll move on to our next color. I like to go, darkest to lightest. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my orange. And you can have a lot of fun with these and just do like different little flowers around and just use like 2 of the 3 colors to get yourself some variation, or change one of the colors. That's another good way to get some variation, to get some different blossoms going. This is a basic how-to right here, but you can really springboard off of this. That's quite orange. Let's add this. Let's go ahead and go for, because I really want, that's going to be such a subtle transition right there. So let's get a little bit brighter of a yellow, but I still want a warm yellow. I've got some really cool colors over here, but I really want to make this warmer. So we'll add a little bit of that, and even that is orange too, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. You get the idea. This is just to show you how to do these. You can of course add as many petals as you want and do different kinds of flowers with this. This is a lot of color, which is another reason why I only like to do 3 colors at a time, because the more color you add, the darker and more intense your flowers are going to be. So we'll get our little paper towel handy. Let me get these out of the way for now. And then I like to activate this and just see what I'm dealing with, make sure my water brush is behaving properly. I like to do a pretty big drop here and then just kind of find the shape of my petal and then move my brush around in here to get that color moving. I also like to leave some blank spots so that the petals look a little torn and tattered. I really like that craggy kind of torn look. That's quite a bit of water. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and play a bit of music and get these done. Now, before I do that, I made this petal pretty big. So I want to come over here and do these two that are really closest. Actually, you want to bounce around and let stuff dry. But these petals all kind of need to be the same size. And you want to be mindful of your other elements like this. So this petal will need to dry here before I mess with this one, just to make sure they don't bleed into one another. And real quick, just to let you know before I forget, once you do this layer, if your colors are lighter than you want them to be, you can absolutely come in with your pens once these are dry and add more color and then move it around, and it works pretty well. You'll develop a touch for it. It does take, it's a bit of a learning curve, but you'll adjust very quickly to it. So let's play some music and do the rest of these. Okay, so now for the pen work on this. This is all dry, and you can alleviate these sharp little marks here just by taking your brush and kind of babysitting this as it dries. Those cauliflower marks are from part of it drying faster than the other part. So I like those for this application of these flowers. I think it's just beautiful. So I will walk away and let them dry just this way. So for the start of this one, I'm gonna do a circle. And I usually don't let my petals get so crazy together like that, but it's all right. And then I like to do a lot of dots around here too. And then I'll do the stamen, like to do a tiny dot at the end of the stamen. I kind of like to flick my pen so that you get that thinner line at the top than at the bottom of the little stamen mark. I don't always do it perfectly, but that's okay. And you can really go to town with this. I'll just do a few to give you an idea. Okay, so that's pretty dark for this flower. I would even do more on here just to make it more interesting. Now what I like to do is add these really pointy, jagged, little thorny things where before the flower actually blossoms, you have these little leaves or things around the blossom as it's starting. I like to vary them. I like to, of course, do one coming out of each area, and you can always leave one out or whatever to make it look a little bit more natural and craggy. I'm going to do them all for the sake of the tutorial. The more texture your watercolor paper has, the more careful you have to be doing this, because it will grab your pen and take it in a direction you don't want it to go. Another thing I like to do is add these really jagged little branches and some swirlies here and there. And I just let the pen trail off like I did with the stem, and you want to kind of have that smaller point than the other, you know what I'm trying to say, than where it begins. You could do a couple swirlies in there. This is really fun pen work, and I love doing this because it's a nice wind down at the end of the day to throw this in bed and do it. I will overlap my stuff, yes. It's fine to overlap your stuff. You don't want to go too crazy. Do a little at first and see how it looks. Okay, so there's the basic idea of how you can make this craggy flower. And then of course I like to add my stem, and I'll go really quite thick on these bigger blossoms. And you've just got to play with it. We won't fill this in right now, but you get the idea. I like the pen work look. Now let's do this little blossom. I'm gonna start by doing 2 of those craggy lines, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put this one behind everything. You want to just kind of follow where your line would be, just like that. And then I like to fill this in with a few more of these, and then thicken this part of it up a little bit here. Kind of make it more of a, so that it's got some stability to it. And then you can come off of these. If you make a little mistake, it's pretty easy to fix it, just like that. We'll give it another little one there. Gives it such a beautiful craggy look. You can even come higher with this. And I would just do this part really gradually. Kind of thicken those up a little bit at the base. Go ahead and fill that in. Now this one's interesting. It's the same concept. I'm going to start down here. We'll flick those out. You always just want to flick your pen. It really does make a difference. It doesn't seem like it would, but it does. Get your little branches in, and then I want to fill this whole area in with my pen to make it this. I think it makes it more believable. Go thicker with these, but you want to start out thin and then you can add to it. I really like to add them in between. I think that's just beautiful, and we'll add some variation here. Do a couple little branches coming off of there. Now that looks a little weird, so that could be from the back side. You just want to play around with it. Let yourself be free with this. Let yourself make a couple that don't look great, you know, because if it doesn't, you want to be free enough to get the technique down. And if it doesn't work right away, that's part of life, right? It takes practice. It takes doing it over and over again to really get a good feel for it. I always make the stems relative to the flower itself, of course. So this one's pretty big and it's getting ready to open up. Getting pen mark on my table. So, and it's bigger than this one. So we've got a nice thin one over here, and then this one's the biggest. So I would take the time to thicken this up. And you can do fun things with this. You can come out, do little leaves on here, like so. And then you can also do some craggy, just little branches coming off your stem. The possibilities are endless. I love this technique. That's the basic idea. And of course, what you want to do when you're all done, which of course I'm not, but I'm going to do it anyway. Add that beautiful signature of yours. Get that in there. It's great to get in the habit of adding your signature, very important. So give yourself the chance to play around with this. And the great thing is you could do a lot of this in bed when you're winding down at night or when you're gearing up in the morning for the day. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section below, and let me know how your journey's going. And you can tag me on Instagram, Corey's Art Cafe, and show me what you're doing. These are so satisfying and therapeutic to create. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. Have a great day, and make sure and subscribe so that you get all the good stuff. I'm back. I've had a lot going on. I started a business and it's going beautifully and I'm really happy about it. But now I'm able to come back and spend more time on the channel. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you real soon. Have a great day.